are you?
I'm well. I'm doing well. How are you? Getting ready for the holidays?
Yeah, actually, in fact, I was gonna say if you see a cat roaming around, I had to fly home this morning, and his name is Benjamin Wyatt the cat. He is my sweet, sweet baby boy, but named after my favorite fictional character of all time, who you kind of know well.
Kind of know well. Yeah, I do.
Well, I wanted to ask because one of my favorite things about Severance is that it takes people like Adam Scott, who like, I have a very clear vision of who Adam Scott is, and it turns that vision on its head. It does it with him, it does it with John Turturro, it did it with Christopher Lloyd, or sorry, with Christopher Walken. For you, when you're on a show like that and you're playing a part in that twist, and you are this man who has to kind of bring to life this office space, what for you is the most interesting part of getting to play like that mystery in a character?
For me, it was really about finding the heart of the piece, finding the heart of Lumen in this machine that we're all a part of. And, we have such great material. We have such a wonderful script. Dan Erickson is brilliant in creating this story with all the mysteries. But when it comes to Milchick, it was really important for me to lock into who he was and why he's there, and to know that he is the keeper of all these secrets of the reasons why these people, like Irving and Dylan and Helly, while they're all there and their intentions. It was really fun to be able to hold those secrets and also continue to dig at what is the story we're telling and who are these people and what is this company all about. And what's really fun about is that we don't know what it is. So even as we're stepping into it, it's still a mystery. And we'll all have like personal theories or thoughts about it, but we know that it's fruitless to hold on to it because it cannot match to the reality of what is going on.
Yeah, and so I've seen some of season two. I haven't watched all of it because I was slowly, like, I did the junket and I was trying to slowly watch it because I didn't want to watch all of Severance at the same time.
Sure.
So to not get into spoilers at all, I don't want to
Okay.
spoil myself and also people. You There's a power shift with Milchick
Mhm.
in the very beginning of this season, because obviously he didn't know what was going to happen at the end of the first season. And so now, yes, he was the keeper of all those secrets, but now he's not anymore. How for you was playing that as an actor, and like going from being an all-knowing kind of guy to now being having more power than he had before, but also knowing less at the same time?
Well, it's interesting in an organizational structure. I find that whenever we move, whether it's a lateral move or we move up, we may have more power and we still have information, but we might not have as much information as we had when we were at
Mm.
that level. So, we watch Milchick as he's navigating this new role that he's in and how much power he actually has. And he's learning that there is a bigger mystery that is unfolding as he is stepping through in this role. What was really important for me is to go back to where Milchick was at the end of season one, because we pick up where we left off.
Mm.
And at the end of season one, we see him, kind of trying to cover up the mess he made. He introduced the overtime contingency to Dylan, and that set off a ripple effect with the other innies because they told this big opportunities like, hey, we can turn off this switch and find out what's going on the outside. So because of his, erroneous move, he ends up, sabotaging the gala in so many different ways. And, all of these things that have been put into place at Lumen are starting to slip through his fingers. So
Mm.
even in season two, he's now having to kind of clean up the mess he's made, but then also do damage control and keep things on the track as in order to keep going and move forward.
Yeah, and
He's
I
got his work cut out for him.
yeah, he does. Well, and I want to ask about, the reaction to the show because obviously everyone's obsessed with this show and it's everyone's kind of new favorite sci-fi thing.
Mhm.
But one of the things I love the most about it is the fact that I was watching a love story between John Turturro and Christopher Walken and like didn't know what was going on, and then all of a sudden I was like, I love them so much
Um,
because I think it is so rare that you would see two actors of that age kind of embrace characters like that in a show like Severance. And so to see fans react to that was crazy for me. But for you as an actor, when you're seeing people kind of watch it in real time and unpack this mystery, what for you was like the funniest thing you kind of saw people? Because you said you guys theorizing was going to happen with these characters before it was revealed.
so when it came to the funnest thing I enjoyed watching was watching people experience the music dance experience for the first time, right? Because it's unlike anything that I've really seen or ever filmed or put together. And really, the script was just very simple. It said music dance experience starts. So we had no idea how this was going to come together when we were filming it in the moment. And because I didn't get to see it as we were filming it,
Mm,
I didn't know how it was all going to come together. And so when we actually saw it, when I saw it for the first time, I said, this is so bizarre and so scary and so funny all at the same time. And watching other people respond to it, they also got so much joy
mhm.
out of it. And it was this unexpected place where this joy would exist. We also see how the character Milchick has so much joy in of it. You know, um, you mentioned the theories. There are a lot of fun ideas that fans have come up with that are really, really quite remarkable, and it really speaks to the intelligence and the passion of our fans, which
Mhm.
I'm in awe of experiencing myself. Like they really vibe with the show and they really are invested. And I'm so grateful for that.
I was gonna ask about the dance scene because I was gonna say, are you aware that now it's just gonna follow you for the rest of your life? No matter what you do, it's gonna be like a gif of that scene.
I think it is that and running in the hallways. Like who would have thought me running up and down a hallway was going to turn into a thing? But it's turning into a thing.
Yeah, I was like, wow, I think Adam Scott's Ben Wyatt gifs are gonna get usurped by him just like running in Lumen in season 2. I was like, this is my Cones Dunshire gif is gonna be harder to find when I go searching for it. Um, I want to ask an actor question because I do love sci-fi works because actors have to kind of they have to take the absurd things that they're saying and doing very seriously in order for it to be sold to an audience. And
Mhm.
so when you get a script like Severance that does have things like you said, a simple line of the sequence begins and you guys have to kind of figure out what that looks like within your own world. What for you is the best tool as an actor to kind of figure out where the character's mindset is or what you need to do to make sure that it feels very grounded and realized?
I think collaboration is key.
Mm,
I'm fortunate to be a part of a group of artists who are very collaborative. You know, Dan, Ben, the entire cast, we really sit and try to suss it out together and figure it out together. And so having that freedom of artistic expression is beautiful. What's also important is to ask questions as much as you can. Now, with this show, there's so much mystery, right? So there's only so many answers that they will provide us because they want to protect the integrity of the show. So we respect that. But that's where the imagination comes in, you know? My question of Milchick is why is this man at this company? He is very specific. The breakdown of the character is simple, an enthusiastic company man. And here is clearly an African American male
mm-hmm,
in his 30s named Seth Milchick at this organization that is predominantly white led And he has bought into the corporate lumen structure. So for me, it's why,
Mm-hmm.
what's going on. And what's beautiful is the tool of the backstory, being able to build his life and figuring out the whys and what was he like as a child and, what is his home life like? And whether or not we get to see that, it's always fun as the actor to be able to create that life because it gives richness. And we see not a one or two dimensional character, but we see a human being living and breathing on screen.
I have two more questions. One, you might know the answer to, or you might not. So I don't know what's gonna happen with that one. But before that, I love like in the beginning of season two. I said this to Dan. I was like, it felt like they realized Zach Cherry is as funny as he is because all he had like one liners within 2 seconds of the first episode, and I was like, that's my guy. But it does feel like season two, as much as I love season one, season two also feels like the show itself recognizes that the actors and the talent that they have and kind of built the characters into more of like who those performers are.
Mhm.
Did you feel a change in Milchick to like who you are as an actor, or was the character still kind of within the same beats that you were familiar with from season one when you started with your season two scripts?
Well, I felt that he had to grow, right? Milchick couldn't be the same person as we met him in season one because the circumstances changed.
Yeah.
His circumstances changed. So because we upped the stakes in season two, it felt that Milchick needed to up the stakes as well. One of the great lines that's featured in the trailer that Milchick says is, I'm tightening the leash, you know? And I think that speaks to his mentality throughout season two. And it's so fun and rich to watch him grow and flex his muscle a little bit more this season.
I 100% agree. So my last question is this. My theory is that Patricia Arquette is the only unsevered human being at Lumen because
Mm.
we see her living her little best life next to Adam Scott, and we see her back in like when she is at Lumen. What do you think Milchick's deal is? Do you know, like, is he severed? Does he also have it in he like everybody else, or is this just also a man with power in this industry?
I think this is a man with power in this industry. We do see him jump out of the office one time,
Yeah, that is true. I forgot about that.
and that's to go check on Dylan.
Yeah, I forgot
But
about the
I
Zach Carey of it all.
go check on my buddy. No, I think this is a man who is fully invested in Lumen. He's in it to win it.
Mm-hmm.
And when you talk about Cobell, I love that you mentioned that she's living her best life and because she's on the outs at the end of season one. But there's that question that exists of who sold Cobell out.
Mm-hmm.
There's that question, I think, after Helly tries to hang herself at the end of episode four, that Cobell asks Natalie or asks the board whether or not Milchick was the one who sold her out. And we don't know. But we do know that Milchick has to be the one to escort her out
Mm-hmm.
physically, right? So there's so much, there's so much to mine in there. And it's really beautiful. It's luscious that we don't get to know whether or not he did sell her out, but it speaks to the type of person he is. And
Mm-hmm.
the fact that we don't know speaks that we've created a character that would potentially sell his boss out if need be.
Yeah. All right, highlight. I have one more question. With a character like this, the costumes, I think it is fascinating how like every you can tell a lot for these characters based on their hair and like the things they wear to work and all that kind of stuff. Like
Mhm.
don't get me started on like why Adam Scott's hair is the way it is. I'm like, because then in real life, I'm like, he's his Ben Wyatt's hair is back. So what is this hair that Mark chooses? But for you, you have these turtlenecks that are cream and up to here and like tighter pants. And he's very like everything is kind of put together in like a I'm like using this motion, but it feels very like secure. How
Yes,
does the costuming of a character like that inform you when you're trying to figure out who he is?
it's everything. It feeds so much to the life of this character because this person is existing in this space all day, every day, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that his clothes are form-fitting, it feels like this is a uniform. It feels very, military in that sense, right? There's no room for spot or wrinkle,
Mm-hmm.
His hair, especially in season two, has been coiffed in such a way that it's incredibly specific, you know? And I have to credit Jennifer Lord, who was my hairdresser for season two, and her genius and how she was able to craft his hair in such a beautiful, dynamic way. The mustache, of course, is pristine. Everything about this guy is in place, and it has to be in order to be at this company. And especially those who are in the administrative lens, like you look at Cobell, you look at James Egan, everyone is pristine and in place. And that informs the actor of my way of being, of how I exist, of how I move, and the pressure to be perfect. One thing that I've taken it upon myself is when I'm not wearing a turtleneck and I'm wearing a tie, I always tie my tie myself. It's like a Milchick ritual.
Oh, I love that. I'm a little acting nerd, so I always ask like actor questions because then they're like, "This is gonna be boring." I'm like, "Not for me." Performance theater major.
There you go.
But thank you so much for talking with me. This is one of my favorite shows, and I know you probably hear that every time you talk to somebody about Severance. But I cannot. I'm so excited it's coming back, and I can't wait for everyone to get to see season two.
Thank you so much. Did you see all of season two?
No, so I've watched the first two, and then I limited myself because I was like, I don't want to watch anymore. I want to
Okay,
rewatch season one, and then I want to go into season two again, all in a row. So I've only seen the first two. And then I talked to Patricia and Dan at the junket. And I
Mhm.
was like, hey, I'm not asking. They're like, you ask spoiler questions. It's okay. I'm like, I'm not going to because I purposely don't want to spoil myself.
Heard. Okay.
But
Okay.
I love it because I was slow to picking it up. Everyone just kept telling me to watch it. And I was like, well, yeah, I'm aware I should watch it. And then
Sure.
I did and was like, oh, I was wrong. This is great. This rules.
Well, I hope you enjoy the rest of season two when it does come available.
I will. I think I have them all. I'm just waiting. I'm like, I was like, after the holiday, I'm just gonna sit down and go through it.
There you go.
But thank you so much for talking with me today. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Take care. Happy holidays to you.
Happy holidays. Thank you guys.
Rachel. Bye.